I funded Ashley Taylor for 5 years, and I pined after her for just as long. Just when I thought she was finally warming up to me, ready to spend her life with me, I discovered she'd been in love with her childhood sweetheart, Kevin Miller, all along. In her eyes, I was just some rich guy who used money to crush her self-respect. Years into our marriage, she secretly transferred my assets and even had a child with Kevin. In the end, I died full of resentment in a raging fire, the flames illuminating their happy little family of three. I sobbed miserably. Reborn, Ashley's childhood sweetheart, Kevin, shoved me hard, sneering, "What do you think we are? Playthings for you rich people." I shoved my bank card back into my pocket. "Sorry, just because I'm rich doesn't mean I'm stupid. I wouldn't want a tasteless toy like you." "Let me tell you, Ethan Walker," Kevin retorted, shoving me again and shielding Ashley behind him. He glared at me. "We may not have money, but we have dignity. How dare you humiliate us like this?" The familiar scene replayed itself, leaving me stunned. Wasn't I already dead? Burned to death in a fire orchestrated by my wife, Ashley, and her beloved Kevin. But this was 12 years ago, when I insisted on helping Ashley. She wore a simple floral dress, a pink ribbon fluttering in the wind, like a butterfly in spring. A few strands of hair framed her pale face, making her seem even more delicate. It was this image of a strong, innocent flower that had captivated me, making me willingly become her devoted admirer. I first met Ashley at an upscale bar. Still in high school, she worked weekends to earn some extra cash. Her youthful air was catnip for the creepy older men who frequented the place. She clutched a bottle of wine, biting her lip, her tear-filled eyes defiant, making her seem even more vulnerable. "Just drink this bottle, little girl, and we'll leave you alone," one of them slurred. "Or, you could keep us happy tonight," another chimed in. "We'll cover all your expenses." "Hey, little sister," a third leered. "This is much faster than waiting tables." A bald man reached out and grabbed Ashley. "Please don't," she begged. "I'll pay for the broken glass." Her pleas only fueled their arrogance. As the bald man pulled her closer, I grabbed an empty bottle and swung it at his head. Young and hot-headed, I didn't hesitate. The bar happened to be partly owned by my father, and the creeps, recognizing me, scattered. After the bar incident, I became increasingly drawn to Ashley. Her parents had committed suicide over gambling debts when she was a freshman. Alone, she had to rely on odd jobs to survive. Despite her poverty, she refused charity, relying on government grants and scholarships. She excelled at one of the best high schools in the city. The grants, scholarships, and her part-time jobs barely kept her afloat. I thought the bar incident would bring us closer, but she started avoiding me. As an only child, I was used to getting everything I wanted. The more she avoided me, the more I pursued her. It was then that I fell for her resilience, her focus, even the mixture of longing and fear I saw in her eyes when she looked at me. No one had ever intrigued me so much. My pursuit began. We were in neighboring classes, and I'd leave breakfast on her desk every morning. She threw it away every time. Lolita fashion was trending, and the girls in her class would chatter about it. Ashley would just retreat to her desk and pretend to study. So, I asked my aunt, a fashion designer, to have a custom Lolita outfit made for her. I presented it to her excitedly. "Ashley, look, I had my aunt have this made for you. You'll look beautiful in it." I waited expectantly, but she just glanced at it and said, "Thanks, but no." Whispers erupted around us. "What's her deal?" someone hissed. "A custom Lolita dress like that must be worth a fortune. She couldn't earn enough in 100 shifts." "You don't get it," another whispered. "She's playing hard to get, aiming for a bigger fish." Their cruel words brought tears to Ashley's eyes. Her hands clenched the faded floral dress she wore. One look from me silenced the class, and they scurried out. "Ashley," I pleaded, "I just want you to be happy. Please don't push me away." She closed her eyes, took a deep breath. "Ethan, please stop bothering me. I can't afford to play your rich people games." I was stunned. What had I done wrong? Ashley continued working multiple jobs. To help her without her knowing, I paid the businesses to treat her better, give her easier tasks. If she thought I was playing games, I'd prove to her I was sincere. I started focusing on my studies. A few seconds of her passing my classroom window during a break was enough motivation to memorize 100 vocabulary words. We ended up at the same university. Tuition was much higher, and Ashley's burden increased. She was constantly posting in the student job groups, often going without food after paying her fees. When I heard she'd resorted to selling blood, I knew I had to help. To protect her pride, I had my father set up a scholarship fund at the university. I arranged for her advisor to recommend her, covering her tuition. Then I networked with wealthy families, finding tutoring jobs for her. Tutoring was lucrative, especially in affluent areas. I tailored the recommendations to her schedule. The animosity in her eyes began to fade. I could finally get close to her, spend more time with her. After graduation, Ashley had saved enough to rent a decent apartment. She studied design, but her work wasn't getting noticed. I knew this was her passion, and I wanted to help her succeed. I took her to my aunt, a world-renowned designer, and asked her to mentor Ashley. I'd been pestering my aunt for ages, and seeing Ashley's dedication, she agreed. With my aunt's guidance, Ashley's work took off. She was hailed as a rising star. My aunt also played matchmaker, and we got married. "Ethan, why are you so good to me?" Ashley asked on our wedding night. "I love you, Ashley," I replied, holding her hand to my heart. "I'll be good to you forever." I envisioned a happy future together, sweet and harmonious. I was wrong. Married life was a disappointment. Ashley had no room for me in her heart or her eyes. Using her studio as an excuse, she met Kevin secretly, often spending nights away. Even when I caught her, my pleas for her to stay home on our anniversary were met with coldness. "Ethan," she snapped, "your constant clinging only makes me resent you more." My devotion had become clinging, starved for affection and reassurance. I became jealous, constantly questioning her. I desperately sought a glimmer of love, a hint of caring, in her answers. "Ashley," I cried, heartbroken, "after all I've done for you, this is how you treat me?" She finally stopped, turning to face me, her expression colder than ever. "So, should I grovel at your feet like a dog, Mr. Walker? I'm a human being. You think you can trap me with your money? Think again." By then, she was already pregnant with Kevin's child. Ashley had a natural talent, and with my aunt's mentoring, she flourished, launching her own brand. She was no longer the girl who sold blood to eat. The year after my aunt passed away, Ashley finally threw the divorce papers at me. "If you won't agree, we'll separate for 2 years and it'll be automatic." I tore the papers to shreds. I loved her desperately, and I hated her just as much. She wanted to divorce me, to live her happy family life. How could I let her go? After my outburst, I even knelt before her, begging, "Ashley, let's just make this work. I was wrong. You can hit me, yell at me, anything, just don't leave me." She shook her head, disgusted, and walked away. We didn't speak again. I drank, drifting through my days. I ran the company my father entrusted to me into the ground. Finally, as I prepared to end it all, I discovered Ashley had been siphoning off my assets. As I raced to confront her, the house exploded in flames. I died 12 years after falling in love with Ashley. "Ashley, don't be afraid. I'll protect you. What do you think we are, Walker? You're rich people's toys?" Kevin's shrill voice pulled me back. I saw again the image of their happy family after my death. I clenched the bank card in my hand, hatred surging. Why had the house caught fire? Was Ashley that eager to get rid of me? Unable to even wait for the 2-year separation? What about my 12 years of devotion? I'd spent years pining, only to realize I was raising someone else's wife. "Ashley, you must be so happy I'm dead. No one to stop you from being with your beloved Kevin. No one to humiliate you with money. In your eyes, a rich guy like me who tried to trap you with money deserved to die, didn't I?" The card held $30,000, my saved allowance. In my past life, I'd forced this money on Ashley, enduring Kevin's humiliation. But this time, I wasn't giving a cent to this ungrateful woman. Kevin was still glaring at me. I smirked, pulling the card back. "Sorry, having money doesn't mean I'm an idiot. I wouldn't want a tasteless toy like you." Kevin was taken aback. Even Ashley stared at me, dumbfounded. Tears welled in her eyes. She grabbed my hand. "Ethan, what's going on? It's not like this." I looked at her suspiciously. What was this reaction? Kevin, furious, pulled us apart. "Walker, I didn't think you were this kind of person. Playing with people's feelings is fun." "Huh? Rich people sure have their tricks. Even without your stinking money, Ashley and I will graduate." Kevin, how could I forget him? Ashley's childhood sweetheart, her Prince Charming. He'd played a part in the destruction of my marriage. He was hopping mad now, a pathetic little clown. My refusal to help them clearly disappointed him. After giving Ashley the money and being humiliated last time, I'd reflected. Ashley was sensitive. Giving her money so publicly must have offended her. That's why I had my father set up the scholarship later, to protect her pride. But even with the scholarship and the tutoring money, she'd give a large portion to Kevin. She'd eat ramen so he could order takeout. I tried to reason with her, but she just rebuked me. Kevin's been with me since childhood. How can I abandon him? You wouldn't understand, Ethan. He's a guy, he has his pride. He'd be mortified if his classmates mocked him for being poor. Unable to sway her, I had my father set up a fund at Kevin's vocational school, hoping to ease Ashley's burden. With that safety net, Kevin became even bolder. Whenever I managed to get Ashley to go out with me, he'd show up, sometimes even working as a waiter at the restaurant. He'd feign surprise and envy. Wow, Ethan, you're so rich, unlike me, stuck waiting tables. Ashley, with Ethan, you'll be living the high life soon. Don't worry about me. His words would stiffen Ashley's expression. He was deliberately provoking her. Ethan, she'd say, this place is too expensive. I don't belong here. Thinking back, Kevin's manipulations were numerous. He was a constant shadow, even after our marriage. For my first birthday, after the wedding, Ashley agreed to celebrate with me. I was thrilled, thinking it was a new beginning. I prepared a lavish dinner, lit scented candles. Then, Ashley arrived with Kevin, who looked like he'd been in a fight. He surveyed the scene, feigning sadness. Ashley, even though my business failed and my dad's gone, seeing you so happy is enough for me. Ashley frowned at me. Ethan, I texted you, didn't I? Mr. Miller just passed away. You're deliberately upsetting Kevin. I stood there, speechless. I'd been preparing her favorite sweet and sour fish and hadn't seen the message. Ashley left with Kevin, not returning that night. Every year on my birthday, she'd spend the night with him. When I asked her to consider my feelings, to at least stay home, she'd lash out. Ethan, you're heartless. Stop being so unreasonable. Kevin's grieving, and you want me to celebrate your birthday? You're unbelievable. It was a slow, agonizing process of misunderstanding and estrangement. Now rage consumed me. I dangled the bank card in front of Kevin. Disappointed? This is $30,000. A gutter rat like you could never earn this much in your life. Since you think I'm humiliating you, I won't bother. You're so noble and proud. You probably wouldn't care about a measly $30,000 anyway. I grinned, enjoying his contorted expression. As I turned to leave, Ashley grabbed me again. Her eyes, filled with unspoken words, trembled. Ethan, how can you not help me? She cried. Her outburst was ridiculous. Don't you like me anymore? She added, a hint of desperation in her voice, mirroring my past groveling. Ashley, I retorted, are you $100 bill? Am I obligated to like you? My past pursuit and favoritism had clearly gone to her head. That's not what I meant, Ethan, she sobbed. It's just, it shouldn't be like this. Her tumultuous emotions confused me, but I wasn't wasting any more time on them. Reborn, I wouldn't be so foolish again. I pulled away, smoothing my clothes. How should it be? Should I beg you to accept my charity? That would be beneath your noble poverty, wouldn't it? I knew exactly what would hurt her most, but her reaction wasn't what I expected. She stared at me with a mixture of heartbreak, hope, and sadness. Ethan, you do like me, don't you? You like me the most, she whispered, shaking me frantically. This was new. She was never this emotionally volatile. Even when bullied, she'd remained stoic. After my insults, she should have glared and walked away, not clung to me like this. Are you crazy, Ashley? I push her away. Liking you was the biggest mistake of my life. We're not from the same world. Get over yourself. I ignored her pleading eyes and walked away. Kevin, help her up. Walk her. Ashley, and I don't need your filthy money. Oh, really? Did he think money was all they'd gotten from me? In this dog-eat-dog world, I'd see how they'd fare without my influence. I left the school and took the $30,000 to the city's most luxurious restaurant. Why let it sit in the bank? I called my classmates. I'd treated them before, but this time, it was a real celebration. If I remember correctly, Ashley and Kevin were working at this very restaurant. You're the man, Ethan. This is going to cost a fortune, the class president chuckled. I popped open a bottle of champagne, filling everyone's glasses. Eat, drink, have fun. It's on me. After this, we're hitting the clubs. Yeah, the crowd cheered. Thanks, Ethan. It felt good. I hadn't felt this free in years. Since pursuing Ashley, I'd avoided these gatherings. She'd refuse to come. I'm poor, she'd say. I don't fit in with your rich friends. I catered to her, rejecting invitations. This time, I wasn't holding back. Hey, we're running low on food and drinks. Let's get a waiter, someone called out. As expected, Ashley and Kevin arrived to serve us. Ashley faltered when she saw me. What's wrong with you? A classmate complained. Can't you do your job? Another quickly hushed him. Don't mess with her. That's Ethan's girl, Ashley. They all watched me, waiting for my reaction. Fancy place, but the service is lacking, I said loudly. They send clueless waiters to serve us? They were shocked. I'd always treated Ashley like a precious object. I'd never embarrassed her publicly. Ethan, Ashley stammered, surprised by my behavior. Kevin, ever the knight in shining armor, stepped forward. Walker, don't be a jerk. Not helping Ashley is one thing, but flaunting your cash and humiliating us like this? You think money is everything. I laughed. Yes, it is. He was speechless. You're not only shameless, but also heartless. What if Ashley can't go to school without your help? Will you be able to sleep at night? Actually, I'd sleep just fine. Do you want me to help Ashley, or do you want to take my money and gamble it away? I asked casually. Kevin's face paled. He hadn't expected me to know about his gambling. His bravado vanished, and he hid behind Ashley. Walker, you're making things up. I ignored him. If you can't do your job, I'll have the manager replace you. In this restaurant, being replaced during a shift meant termination. Kevin started serving quietly. Ashley stared at me, the same resilient look in her eyes, but this time, it didn't stir anything in me. I only felt regret for being so easily captivated, for losing everything. This time, I was going to build my own empire. Before marriage, I'd wasted my time chasing Ashley. After, I'd let my emotions be dictated by her, neglecting the company my father had given me. I'd use my knowledge of the future to my advantage. Women were only a distraction. I tackled the company's problems, proving my competence to my father, who finally began grooming me as a successor. While I focused on business, someone else focused on spreading rumors. Back at school, I was now the bullying rich kid. I parked my new Ferrari and walked to the field, hearing whispers all around. Ashley and Kevin approached. Look, everyone, Kevin announced. The heartless rich kid who'd rather spend his money than help someone in need. Because of him, my Ashley can't even afford food and has to sell her blood. He drives fancy cars, wears expensive clothes, but won't give $30,000 to help her. If Ashley can't graduate, if she starves to death, will you be able to live with yourself, Walker? I waited. The bigger the crowd, the better. Because of me, she sells blood? Is her poverty my fault? Am I obligated to give you money just because I have it? You're good at moral blackmailing, but not at earning a living. You care so much about your Ashley. Why can't you even feed her when she's resorting to selling blood? You could always, I don't know, sell yourself on the street. At least your precious Ashley wouldn't starve. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Yeah, this is ridiculous. Being poor doesn't give you the right to demand money. It's pathetic, expecting handouts instead of working. Kevin flushed crimson. Ashley looked devastated. Ethan, she whispered, do you still love me? She was definitely delusional. I'm willing to be with you, she pleaded. Let's start over, okay, Ethan? Her desperation was almost convincing. Almost. Kevin looked shocked. Ashley, see? This is Ethan, the rich kid who plays with us. He said those awful things just because we asked for help. Imagine the suffering you'd endure if you were with him. Shut up, Ashley yelled at Kevin. He stared at her, incredulous. Ashley, if you dare badmouth Ethan again, she said coldly, don't blame me for what happens. Even I was surprised. It was always Ashley warning me not to hurt Kevin. Ethan, let me explain, Ashley pleaded, grabbing my arm. I wasn't falling for it again. I pried her hand off. Ashley, you're not the only girl in the world. I looked down at her, sprawled on the ground. Your Kevin was right. We're not from the same world. You can stay in your slum. I'll stay in my mansion. I'm done with you. The crowd grew. News of my rejection would spread fast. It felt liberating to finally break free. Humiliated, Ashley was reportedly a mess, neglecting herself and her studies. She made so many mistakes at work that she was fired, not even receiving her final paycheck. I pulled strings to get her those cushy jobs. Now that we were over, the bosses no longer needed to appease me. As for Kevin, he'd used his association with me to bully others at his school, extorting money. Now he was a pariah, unable to pay his gambling debts. He'd had 2 fingers cut off. You won't believe it, a classmate told me. Kevin tried to sell blood, but they wouldn't take it. He's too malnourished. And Ashley lost her job and ruined a senior's final project. She's facing a lawsuit. I just smiled. It had nothing to do with me. Being strangers was my greatest act of mercy. I was focused on my business, on building my future. I just finished dealing with a branch office when my phone rang. I smiled, seeing the caller ID. Christina. To what do I owe the pleasure? It was Christina Parker, my best friend from high school. She'd moved abroad after graduation. I'm back tonight, she announced. Aren't you going to throw a party for me? Surprised, I asked why the sudden return. It's because of you. Me? I heard you're over Ashley. If I don't hurry back, you'll find someone else. She was teasing, but I knew Christina had always liked me. Back then, I'd been too focused on Ashley to notice, too blinded to appreciate her. Now, I wanted to see her in a new light. That night, I organized a welcome-back party for Christina at our usual bar. Seriously, are you really over Ashley? She asked. I nodded. Yes. We weren't right for each other. Her eyes lit up. We aren't? Then, what about us? She was always so direct. Well, before I could answer, Ashley appeared out of nowhere, clinging to me. No, Ethan, we are right for each other. I like you. I love you. Her frantic confession drew everyone's attention. Ashley, calm down, I said, pulling her away. This wasn't the place. I led her to the rooftop. Ethan, how can you go back on your word? She cried. You promised to be good to me forever. How can you change your mind? My heart sank. You're reborn too, aren't you? I gritted my teeth. Ethan, since heaven gave me a second chance, let me make it up to you, okay? The obsession in her voice was overwhelming. Make it up to me? How? I exploded. You stole everything I had and left me to die in our house. How can you make that up to me? I, she stammered. It was Kevin. He lost money in his business. I wanted to save him, so I transferred the assets. Ethan, you know a child needs a father. Her voice trailed off. How touching. A child needs a father. Then, she added frantically, but I didn't want you to die. I loved you, Ethan. My pride just got in the way. You have to believe me. She sounded sincere. If she'd done it, she would have admitted it. Then who set the fire? One answer came to mind. No one hated me more than him. I should have realized, from the moment I appeared in Ashley's life, Kevin had seen me as a threat. When I picked Ashley up from work, he'd sneer, Ethan, your car is so expensive. Ashley and I are dirty from work. We don't deserve to ride in it. Ashley's initial excitement would instantly dim. When I brought her fruit, he'd remark, wow, these cherries must be pricey. Your world is beyond reach for poor people like us. Ashley would push the cherries away, saying stubbornly, I prefer apples. When we tried on wedding dresses, he'd comment, Ashley, you look beautiful. Looks like you're leaving the world of poverty behind. Marriage is a girl's best chance after all. Ashley would silently change back, muttering, the wedding can be simple. His words and his sharp glances after each comment had always hinted at his intense hatred for me. I'd been too blind to see it. About the baby, Ashley explained nervously. It was Mr. Miller's death anniversary. Kevin and I drank a little too much. It just happened. I didn't want it, Ethan. I took the morning after pill, but I still got pregnant. I wanted an abortion, but the doctor said I couldn't risk it. My uterus was too thin. I wouldn't be able to have children again. But I want a child with you too. Huh. That's rich, Ashley, I said bitterly. I'd loved her so deeply, and she'd had another man's child, stealing everything from me so that the child wouldn't grow up without a father. She was my wife, the woman I loved most. Why had she hurt me so badly? Ethan, give me another chance, please, she begged. I won't hurt you again. I know my heart now. Kevin is just a brother. I'll never contact him again if you want. Ethan, I just want you. Tears streamed down her face. Fine, I said. Kill Kevin. Consider it revenge for me. Then I'll believe you. I was pushing her, knowing she wouldn't do it. I wanted her to see how selfish she truly was. Ashley, would you really kill me for him? Kevin appeared seemingly out of thin air. His face was bruised, and he was missing 2 fingers. For this man who humiliated us? We grew up together. You promised to marry me. How can you kill me for an outsider? Ashley? Ashley glared at him. There's nothing between us. I've always loved Ethan. Kevin chuckled. Fine. I'll back off. I wish you and Ethan happiness. He walked away, defeated. I was surprised he gave up so easily. Ashley, we can't go back, I said. It was the last thing I'd ever say to her. Christina was waiting for me. Die, Walker. Kevin suddenly charged, pushing me towards the edge of the roof. I knew I'd die if I fell. No. Ashley shoved me aside, taking the full force of Kevin's attack. She plummeted to the street below. Horns blared, tires screeched. Ashley woke up in the hospital paralyzed from the waist down. Kevin was arrested. Ethan, are you okay? She asked weakly. Yes, I replied coldly. You didn't have to do that. She looked down. I just wanted to make it up to you, even a little. Ethan, I cut her off. Rest well. You can apply for disability benefits. I'm leaving. Her anguished cries followed me. Are you leaving me? Ethan, you said I was your wife. Ethan, please look at me one last time. I beg you. Her voice faded as I left the hospital. Christina was waiting. I thought you'd be longer. There was nothing left to say, I replied. It's over. Christina told me Kevin was facing 12 years for attempted murder, loan sharking, gambling, and drug trafficking. 12 years. I murmured. It didn't seem enough. Christina smiled. Don't worry. I'll pull some strings. He'll regret being born. We were getting married. The day before the wedding, I received an envelope containing a design sketch and 2 rings. In my past life, this design had made Ashley famous. The rings were engraved with Christina's and my initials. A note read, "Let this marry you in my place." She was trying to make amends. Christina took the rings. The craftsmanship is a bit rough, but the design is nice. Keep them as a memento. I laughed, tossing the envelope into the trash. There's nothing to remember. You're the only one in my heart. She smiled, burying her face in my chest. I wouldn't let those painful memories and misplaced love taint my happiness. Ashley's regrets were not my concern. She wouldn't be an obstacle on my path to happiness. Whether the past held joy, heartbreak, or acceptance, it didn't matter anymore. I cherished the woman in my arms, my one true happiness. Ashley's perspective. I returned home to find Ethan burned beyond recognition. I stared blankly, numb to all sights and sounds. How could this happen? My heart ached, a gaping hole in my chest. I reached out, trembling, to touch his charred face. This was Ethan, once so full of life. The police said it was arson. I begged them to find the culprit. Everything was gone. The sheets he'd chosen, the tea he'd picked out for me, the pink kitchenware he thought I'd like. All gone. But it wasn't the loss of things that truly devastated me. It was the loss of Ethan. When did I fall in love with him? I searched my heart. The realization hit me. It had always been him. The breakfast he left on my desk, the Lolita dress he'd presented with such joy, the look in his eyes when he promised to be good to me forever. Memories flooded my mind. He was dead, yet he lived vividly in my memories. In the kitchen, preparing my favorite meal. Ashley, go change and relax. One more dish, and dinner's ready. The rich boy, who'd never cooked a day in his life, making delicious meals for me. In the living room, excitedly decorating for my birthday because I'd finally agreed to celebrate with him. In the bedroom, changing the sheets stained with my period blood. I'll wash these. Don't touch cold water, Ashley. I reached out, but he vanished like a bubble. He was gone. Slowly, I started seeing him everywhere, the visions lasting longer. I clung to these illusions, discarding the medication my therapist prescribed. But gradually, he stopped appearing, only visiting my dreams, fading away whenever I tried to reach him. Reality was a cruel reminder of his death. I sought refuge in sleep, popping sleeping pills when insomnia struck. The dosage increased. Finally, I thought I'd truly see him again. A voice echoed in my mind, telling me my strong attachment had granted me a second chance. I wept with joy, vowing to make it up to him, to love him properly. I opened my eyes, and there he was. I drank him in, but something was different. He said he didn't like me? No, that wasn't right. Ethan loved me. Then I realized he was reborn too. He distanced himself, pushed me away, acted indifferent. I desperately searched for proof of his love. But I failed. I'd lost him, in this life and the next. Now, paralyzed, I lived in a rundown apartment, surviving on charity and disability benefits. I'd lost track of how many days I hadn't showered, hadn't eaten a proper meal. Ignoring the pain, I picked up my familiar tools, pen and paper. I designed a pair of rings, the design that had launched my career. They were meant for us. Before our wedding, Ethan had chosen diamond rings, but my stupid pride allowed me to wear them only once. In my memory, Ethan's ring finger always sparkled, except on the day he died. I'd poured all my love for him into those rings, though I hadn't realized it then. My pride had blinded me, convincing me that a rich man like Ethan couldn't possibly love me, that it was all a game. Even after marriage, I'd convinced myself he'd stray. Kevin's words had poisoned me. Ethan is so rich, Ashley. Do you really think he'll be faithful? We're just toys to them. I believed him, dismissing every act of kindness, every expression of love. Now I was paying the price. I heard he was getting married. I sent him the rings and the design. In another reality, I was marrying him. I had no regrets. The countless sleepless nights, the hallucinations just to catch a glimpse of him. The unreachable dream. This was my fate, my retribution. Those who betray true love swallow 1,000 needles.